Ho, ho, ho! It's Santa Claus up at the North Pole, and it's a very, very cold and windy night. So I thought I'd read a nice book in front of the Christmas tree and keep warm. The book I have here is called The Littlest Angel by Charles Tazewell. It goes out to the parents and the children of Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut. Once upon a time, many, many years ago, as time is calculated by men, but which was only yesterday in the celestial calendar of heaven, there was in paradise a most miserable, thoroughly unhappy, and utterly dejected cherub who was known throughout heaven as the Littlest Angel. He was exactly 4 years, 6 months, 5 days, 7 hours, and 42 minutes of age when he presented himself to the venerable gatekeeper and waited for admittance to the glorious kingdom of God. Standing defiantly, he tried to pretend that he wasn't at all impressed by such unearthly splendor, and that he wasn't at all afraid. But his lower lip trembled, and a tear disgraced him by making a new furrow down his already tear-streaked face, coming to a precipitous halt at the very tip of his small, freckled nose. But that wasn't all. While the kindly gatekeeper was entering the name in his great book, The Littlest Angel, having left home, as usual, without a handkerchief, endeavored to hide the telltale evidence by sniffling. A most angelic sound which so unnerved the good gatekeeper that he did something he had never done in all eternity. He blotted the page. From that moment on, the heavenly peace was never quite the same, and the littlest angel soon became the despair of all the heavenly host. His shrill, ear-splitting whistle resounded at all hours through the golden streets. It startled the patriarch prophets and disturbed their meditations. Yes, and on top of all that, he inevitably and vociferously sang off-key at the singing practice of the heavenly choir, spoiling its ethereal effect. And being so small that it seemed to take him just twice as long as anyone else to get to the nightly prayers, the littlest angel always arrived late and always knocked everyone's wings askew as he darted into his place. Although these flaws in behavior might have been overlooked, the general appearance of the littlest angel was even more disreputable than his deportment. It was first whispered among the seraphim and cherubim, and then said aloud among the angels and archangels, that he didn't even look like an angel. And they were all quite correct. He didn't. His halo was permanently tarnished where he held onto it with one hot little chubby hand when he ran, and he was always running. Furthermore, even when he stood very still, it never behaved as a halo should. It was always slipping down over his right eye or over his left eye, or else, just for pure meanness, slipping out the back of his head and rolling down some golden street just so he'd have to chase after it. Yes, and it must be here recorded that his wings were neither useful nor ornamental. All paradise held its breath when the littlest angel perched himself like an unhappy fledgling sparrow on the very edge of a gilded cloud and prepared to take off. He would teeter this way and that way, but after much coaxing and a few false starts, he would shut both of his eyes, hold his freckled nose, count up to 303, then hurl himself slowly into space. However, owing to the regrettable fact that he was always forgot to move his wings, the littlest angel always fell head over halo. It was also reported, and never denied, that whenever he was nervous, which was most of the time, he bit his wingtips. Now anyone can understand why the littlest angel would, soon or late, have to be disciplined. And so, on an eternal day of an eternal month in the year eternal, he was directed to present his small self before an angel of peace. The littlest angel combed his hair, dusted his wings, and donned an almost clean garment, and then, with a heavy heart, trudged his way to the place of judgment. He tried to postpone the dreaded ordeal by loitering along the street of the guardian angels, pausing a few timeless moments to minutely pursue the long list of new arrivals, though all heaven knew he couldn't read a word. And he idled more than several immortal moments to carefully examine a display of Ariete harps, although everyone in the celestial city knew who couldn't tell a crochet from a semiquaver. But at length and at last he slowly approached the doorway, which was surmounted by a pair of golden scales, signifying that heavenly justice was dispensed within. To the littlest angel's great surprise, he heard a merry voice singing. The littlest angel removed his halo and breathed upon it heavily, then polished it upon his garment, a procedure which added nothing to his already untidy appearance, then tiptoed in. The singer, who was known as the understanding angel, looked down at the small culprit, and the littlest angel instantly tried to make himself invisible by the ingenious process of withdrawing his head into the collar of his garment, very much like a snapping turtle. At that the singer laughed, a jolly, heartwarming sound, and said, "Oh, so you're the one who's been making heaven so unheavenly. Come here, cherub, and tell me all about it." The littlest angel ventured a furtive look, first one eye, and then the other eye. Suddenly, almost before he knew it, he was perched on the lap of the understanding angel, and was explaining how very difficult it was for a boy who suddenly finds himself transformed into an angel. Yes, and no matter what the archangel said, he'd only swung once, well, twice. Oh, all right then, he'd swung 3 times on the golden gates, but that was just for something to do. That was the whole trouble. There wasn't anything for a small angel to do, and he was very homesick. Oh, not that paradise wasn't beautiful, but the earth was beautiful too. Wasn't it created by God himself? Why, there were trees to climb and brooks to fish and caves to play at pirate chief, the swimming hole, and sun and rain and dark and dawn, thick brown dust so soft and warm beneath your feet. The understanding angel smiled, and in his eyes was a long-forgotten memory of another small boy from long ago. Then he asked the littlest angel what would make him most happy in paradise. This cherub thought for a moment and whispered in his ear, "There's a box. I left it under my bed back home. If only I could have that."